더보기란과 고정 댓글에 비트코인 관전방 링크 달아놨으니 많은 참여 부탁드립니다. 안녕하세요. 비트플랜비입니다. 드디어 찾았습니다. 1200% 급등 예상 종목이 저희 알파빗에 포착이 되었습니다. 앞전에 올렸던 알파빗 지표에 대한 문의가 많이 왔었는데요. 먼저 연락 주신 분들께는 이미 정보가 전달된 상태입니다. 우리는 마크유스코도 아니고 월가의 수십억 달러를 굴리는 트레이더도 아닙니다. 그렇다면 정보 수집이 굉장히 중요하겠죠. 오늘 영상 끝에 그 힌트가 있습니다. 끝까지 시청 바랍니다.
And so for the average person, they've got their money and it's in the bank, which means it's no longer their money, right? It's the bank's money. And they'll let you use it most of the time unless you want to do something funny with it. Like the first time I tried to take money out at Christmas, like I literally wanted to give cash in the kids' Christmas stockings. The bank's like, what do you need that cash for? Like, well, it's none of your business. Like, it's my money. I'm like, well, technically it's our money. And the first time I tried to send money to Coinbase to buy Bitcoin, they're like, oh, 14 days. What do you mean 14 days? Like, didn't you read the fine print? So, and I'm stealing this from Jimmy Song. Jimmy Song, great line about this. He says, look, if you work for a fiat wage, and it's a highly charged political word, you're a slave. Ooh, people don't like you to say that. You're just anyone. If you work for a fiat salary, you are a slave because that money can be stolen back from you through devaluation of the currency. If you take that fiat and you put it into Bitcoin, you are free because now every time they devalue the currency, your value goes up. So what that does is it breaks the shackles of being a slave. And now you have more time to be creative, to be innovative. Now you may choose to be a leisure person, that's fine. But it gives you the opportunity, if you so choose, to unleash human potential. And so I think the acceleration of great stuff because of Bitcoin and because of digital world is just going to be extraordinary. Just think about this. What is a ledger? Right? What's a ledger? Right? It's just a recording of a transaction. So let's say I lent you money and I lent you $100, 10% interest. And I wrote down on my papyrus tablet, because I'm an old guy, that you owe me $100. You come back a year later and to pay me the 110, you worked hard to make the 10% interest, you come back to pay me. It turns out I was an unscrupulous guy and I erased the 100 and I wrote 200. So Paul, you owe me 220. You're like, no, I only borrowed 100. Says right here in the ledger, 220. So 838 years ago, the Medicis said, you know what, that's a bad system. One ledger, corruptible, you have to trust the person, and some people aren't trustworthy. So here's what we'll do. You write down 100, I'll write down 100, and we, the benevolent Medicis, for a small fee, will make sure those ledgers match. So you go away for the year, earn your 10%, you come back. Again, I'm an unscrupulous guy. I go to the Medicis and I say, you know what, guys, I'm going to change my number to 200, but I'll give you half. And they're like, done. Awesome. That's free money for us. So you come back to pay the 110 and I say, no, it's 220. And you're like, hey, Medicis. And they're like, oh, Paul, you must have written the number down wrong. We're sorry. Again, we and they were not trustworthy. And I'm not saying that all the bankers are not trustworthy, but some are not trustworthy. And so the system of a centralized dual entry accounting, 838 years, it's been awesome. But here's the thing. Now, through innovation of technology, we have a better system. We have a third ledger, right? A blockchain ledger. It's just a ledger, right? It's just a recording. And I write down 100, you write down 100. And the third ledger says, yep, you guys did 100 transaction. And now it's immutable and permanent and secured by thousands of people who can't be corrupted. Like to corrupt one person, not a problem. Corrupt two people, harder. To corrupt thousands and thousands, just not going to happen. All of us, we're busy with our lives and we're doing the best we can to do our jobs and get by and save for future and have relationships. And so So it's tough sometimes to see innovation and to spend time in the future, right? We're so busy living in the present. It's tough to sit back and say, oh, you know what? But inevitably, thankfully, there are entrepreneurs and innovators doing that for us, right? People came along and, you know, we don't drive around in horse and buggies anymore. We drive around in automobiles. And I didn't take the train, you know, up to New York last week. I took an airplane. But most of us live our lives in the world of fiat, and we don't really think what's happening, right? We see our stock values go up and we don't stop to think about, well, that's because they're priced in a devaluing currency. Or our real estate goes up. Oh, well, that's because it's priced in a devaluing currency. Well, wait a second. Is there a better technology? Well, yes, there is. But part of the problem is, okay, you're telling me this better technology is this magic internet money that I can't really see and I don't really understand. Like, well, don't try to understand it. So we have a better system for exchanging value. So when I was growing up, you could watch 3 television channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, and they would all tell you the same thing. They were given their talking points. So we didn't have state-owned media like China, but we had state-controlled media. And that's how I live my life. They told me what to think, and that's what I did. Well, then the internet busted that wide open. The value that used to be in media and commerce got liberated into Web 1 and Web 2, $7 trillion of value. Well, here's the thing. Blockchains now bust the monopoly of financial services, the trust industry. And that's not 7 trillion total, that's 7 trillion a year that's extracted from us in fees and overdraft charges and accounting fees and audit fees. And they love it, right? Jamie Dimon loves this business. Warren Buffett loves this business. It's very profitable. But blockchain can do away with the vast majority of that because now financial services can be liberated onto the chain, particularly through Bitcoin. And this is a really big deal. So it's that evolution of technology. It's that innovative spirit that, you know, the most powerful force in the universe is human creativity, bar none. Okay, which is what, you know, the white paper says. Peer-to-peer electronic cash system implies that we're all going to be using it to buy coffee. Well, kind of. What it really means is that I can exchange value with you without an intermediary. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to go to the store and buy coffee with it. So we have that today, right? It is digital gold. It's a perfect store of value, but I can send you value peer-to-peer with no intermediary. I don't need a bank like right now. But part of the issue is unless everybody is using it, it's probably more convenient for me to keep my store of value in Bitcoin, my savings, convert a little bit to fiat to use where, you know, when I'm going to go to Tokyo, they still want yen. So until we get to a point where the volatility is very low, everything's a process, right? Like we didn't go from horse and buggy to automobiles overnight. It took many, many years of innovation. We didn't go from no computers to computers overnight. Now, in essence, it felt that way because you could just turn it on, but there were decades and decades of innovation. So yeah, could we have Bitcoin replace gold? Sure.
오늘 마크유스코의 이야기는 개인적으로 굉장히 흥미로운 주제였습니다. 금융혁신을 주로 다뤘는데요. 하지만 가장 중요한 건 우리가 이 흐름을 어떻게 활용하느냐입니다. 저희가 직접 개발한 보조지표를 통해 1200% 급등 예상 종목이 포착되었습니다. 과거에도 같은 신호가 나왔을 때 엄청난 상승이 있었죠. 단순한 예측이 아닙니다. 철저한 데이터 분석과 패턴, 매칭을 기반으로 한 신호입니다. 더 늦기 전에 문의 주시기 바랍니다. 문의는 이 번호로 구독이라고 문자 주시거나 고정 댓글 확인 부탁드립니다. 코인 관전방도 개설했으니 적극적인 참여 부탁드립니다. 오늘도 영상이 유익하셨다면 구독, 좋아요 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.